Oops. A new statement by the National Institutes of Health directly contradicts Dr. Anthony Fauci's sworn testimony before Congress. Former President Trump announces a new social media company, plus a high school gets blasted over its white privilege taunt. All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is the 13-Minute News Hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
Okay, friends, welcome to the show. Happy Friday. I hope you had a great week. If you're new to the show, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to start with Dr. Anthony Fauci because outside of maybe Joe Biden, Fauci is probably the least trusted person in America. He makes the rounds on CNN, MSNBC, and NPR, and any left-wing outlet that'll have him. He says things that do not follow the science. And he acts like he is the dictator of what the public can and cannot do, as if we care whether Halloween or Christmas gatherings have Fauci's blessing or not. Well, he's back in the news because new information from the National Institutes of Health directly contradict Fauci's claims and sworn testimony before Congress that he and his organization never engaged in gain-of-function research. That is, research that takes viruses that occur in animals and makes them more transmissible to humans. The stuff done in the Wuhan Lab. The results, likely of which, resulted in COVID-19. Here's the story. The National Institutes of Health has now stunningly admitted to funding gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at China's Wuhan Lab, despite Dr. Anthony Fauci repeatedly insisting to Congress that no such thing happened. In a letter to Kentucky Republican Representative James Comer, a top NIH official blamed EcoHealth Alliance, the New York City-based nonprofit that has funneled U.S. funds to the Wuhan Lab, for not being transparent about the work it was doing. Imagine that. Gain-of-function research was being done at the Wuhan Lab and was being funded by the NIH. Now, let's go back to an exchange from July between Fauci and Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. We'll start with Senator Paul quoting from a research doctor who describes exactly what is going on at the NIH and the Wuhan Lab.
Dr. Richard Eberle, a molecular biologist from Rutgers, described this research in Wuhan as the Wuhan lab used NIH funding to construct novel chimeric SARS-related coronaviruses able to infect human cells and laboratory animals. This is high-risk research that creates new potential pandemic pathogens that exist only in the lab, not in nature. This research matches, these are Dr. Eberle's words, this research matches, indeed epitomizes, the definition of gain-of-function research done entirely in Wuhan, for which there was supposed to be a federal pause. Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
So, how do you think Dr. Fauci reacted to that? Keep in mind, he already testified about a month before that, saying that the NIH was not involved in gain-of-function research at the Wuhan Lab. Here's Fauci.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper that you are referring to was judged by qualified staff up and down the chain as not being gain of function.
So
let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
The exchange went back and forth with Senator Paul rightfully stating what was happening and Dr. Fauci denying it. Then, after Paul's time was up, the next Democrat senator asked Fauci if he'd like a little more time to address the attacks on his integrity. Here's the response.
Well, Senator, thank you. I don't think I have anything further to say. This is a pattern that Senator Paul has been doing now at multiple hearings based on no reality. He keeps talking about gain of function. This has been evaluated multiple times by qualified people to not fall under the gain of function definition. I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed.
Okay, so now back to this week, where the NIH admitted, yes, we did fund gain-of-function research, but it's not really our fault. Another company didn't disclose what it was supposed to disclose. Here's more. NIH's Principal Deputy Director, Lawrence A. Tabak, wrote in the letter that EcoHealth's limited experiment tested if spike proteins from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to the human ACE2 receptor in a mouse model. The admission from the NIH official directly contradicts Fauci's testimony to Congress in May and July when he denied the U.S. had funded gain-of-function projects in the Wuhan. Tabak, who did not use the term gain-of-function in his letter but alluded to it, said EcoHealth, which is run by British scientist Peter Daszak, failed to comply with the terms of the grant, which required them to report immediately a 1 log increase in growth. So there you have it. Fauci says one thing, the NIH now admits something else. Fauci's credibility is shot. Not that it was any good to begin with, but maybe now people will stop listening to him altogether. All right, next let's talk about former President Trump. But first, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Okay, let's talk about former President Trump and his ongoing efforts to fight back against big tech. There are many things Trump did great during his 4 years in the White House. We can really see that now when we contrast that with what Joe Biden is doing on the border, taxes, inflation, energy, jobs, COVID, Afghanistan, you name it. But one of the top items on Trump's list, in my opinion, was taking on the media and big tech. These corporations are completely controlled by leftist boards and executives, and those people overtly suppress conservative voices and any opinion that deviates from the approved left-wing narrative. The more Trump fought back, the more big tech clamped down. Legitimate news stories were suppressed and completely blocked, stories that clearly influenced the election and people's opinion of Joe Biden. Now, the media and big tech continue to censor the news and your voices, but fortunately, Trump is still fighting and is set to launch a full-scale alternative to left-wing big tech. Here's the story. Former President Donald Trump has announced the Trump Media and Technology Group, merging with Digital World Acquisition Corporation to become a publicly listed company with a potential valuation of up to $1.7 billion. A new social media platform called Truth Social is set to launch in early 2022 to compete with the likes of Facebook and Twitter, two sites that have left the former president banned, along with a subscription video on demand service to rival Google's YouTube. I created Truth Social and TMTG to stand up to the tyranny of big tech, Trump wrote in the announcement Wednesday night. We live in a world where the Taliban has a huge presence on Twitter, yet your favorite American president has been silenced. I love that example. We see it over and over again. The Taliban has a voice on social media. The Taliban. China can spread communist propaganda. Big tech doesn't care. Joe Biden can be involved in all kinds of shady deals with Hunter Biden. And not only does the media and big tech not care, they will actively suppress the stories. But Donald Trump? That's a different story. His voice is too big and he leads too many people away from the left-wing thought collective. And that's why big tech shut him down. Here's more. Trump calls this a fulfilling of a promise to create a conservative media competitor to combat the liberal activism against his administration and in the 2020 presidential campaign. I'm excited to send out my first truth on Truth Social very soon, Trump added. TMTG was founded with a mission to give a voice to all. I'm excited to soon begin sharing my thoughts on Truth Social and to fight back against big tech. Everyone asks me, why doesn't someone stand up to big tech? Well, we will be soon. Truth Social is described as a big tent social media platform that encourages a free, open, and honest global conversation without discriminating against political ideology. Imagine that. Beta testing is set to begin in November with a rollout in 2022. I sincerely hope it's successful. I'm on Getter at Bobby Eberle 13, and I'm hoping TMTG will help crush the stranglehold that big tech currently has on free speech. We can't survive as a country if only one side has a voice. All right, let's talk about racism in America, because the left feeds off of division and disunity, and one of their prime tools is claiming that everything is racist. Yet here's the deal. Their words and actions actually promote racism. With the 1619 Project, they pitch a discredited notion that America wasn't founded on principles of freedom and liberty, but instead slavery and racism. With critical race theory, the left promote an ideology where whites are oppressors and everyone else is a victim. In other words, the left is sanctioning and promoting racism, just their kind of racism. And at a recent high school football game, we can see a perfect example of how racism is actually endorsed and supported, as long as it's against white people. Here's a report from Fox News.
Parents at a North Carolina high school football game were stunned when they saw that huge banner implying a Catholic school was privileged and populated with rich white families. Butler High School cheerleaders holding the sign that read, "Sniff, sniff, you smell that? Privilege," before the start of their game against Charlotte Catholic High School. But parents, including our next guest, say the sign couldn't be further from the truth.
Can you believe this? Sniff, sniff, you smell that? Privilege. Privilege is written in white along with a couple of dollar signs thrown in there. And this was allowed by the school and the parent boosters who help with the activities. How is that okay? I guess that question is kind of obvious when we see just how left government-run schools have become. Remember this, teacher?
Okay, so during third period, we have announcements and they do the Pledge of Allegiance. I always tell my class, stand if you feel like it, don't stand if you feel like it, say the words if you want, don't have to say the words. So my class decided to stand but not say the words. Totally fine. Except for the fact that my room does not have a flag. It used to be there, but I took it down during COVID because it made me uncomfortable. And I packed it away and I don't know where, and I haven't found it yet.
She had her class say the Pledge of Allegiance to the gay pride flag. And as far as inclusion and tolerance, that doesn't apply if you are white. In today's leftist world, if you're white, you're a target, and anything is fair game. Here's more as the Fox News host asked a school parent if she thought the sign was racist.
I hate to use that word, but yes, it was definitely geared towards the white, rich, privileged folks that they think are the only people at the Catholic school.
And is that true?
Absolutely not. As mentioned, I have a biracial son. I am a single mom, and by no means would I call myself rich or privileged.
Now, because of the outrage expressed by parents, school administrators say they are looking into what happened and that there will be some fallout from those responsible.
The Charlotte-Mecklenburg School District sent a statement. They said squad members and adults responsible for oversight will face consequences. As a result of that banner display, Butler High School cheerleaders have sent an apology letter to counterparts at the Charlotte Catholic School. Soon there will be a meeting between the school's cheerleading squads to facilitate goodwill and understanding.
So we get a kumbaya moment and then we just all move on. But here's the deal. We've seen multiple reports of schools not being able to wave American flags because another school might be offended. According to those school administrators, it was okay to shut down patriotism, and in this case, it was okay to promote racism. It seems like activities that are anti-American or anti-white are okay. But as we saw on the last show, take a holiday like Halloween, and these same leftist administrators are shutting it down because they say it's racist. The left has truly lost its mind. Okay, so we've had Dr. Anthony Fauci, big tech censorship, and woke leftists using racism as a weapon. We need to ask them, do you have a relaxed brain?
I got what you call a relaxed brain.
Okay, here's some relaxed brain from Joe Biden's State Department, which is run by Antony Blinken. On Wednesday, the State Department recognized International Pronouns Day. Today, on International Pronouns Day, we share why many people list pronouns on their email and social media profiles. Read more here at Share America. Yep, International Pronouns Day. Senator Marco Rubio replied to that tweet with this. This is what the people in charge of our nation's foreign policy are working on today. Nice reply, and you'd think there are more important things for the State Department to be doing. And then there's the University of Oklahoma, who is looking for a new mathematics education professor. And of course, the key qualification has nothing to do with mathematics, but instead being woke. The professor will teach within the Janine Rainbow College of Education, which according to the job posting, aspires to become a diverse and inclusive community of learners who engage in transformative scholarship with and in communities to advance justice and promote human dignity. Beyond an understanding of current theories in mathematics education, the full-time tenure-track position must be filled by an individual with culturally responsive and sustaining mathematics pedagogy and mathematics for equity and social justice. Remember, this is for a math education professor. It just shows you how messed up education has become and how much control the left has in determining what is taught to our kids. And how about some breaking headlines from the Babylon Bee? First, here's Joe Biden's latest effort to push more vaccinations. Biden promises he will stop being a bad president if everyone gets vaccinated. What do you think? I'm willing to bet neither one of those things happens. And then, let's give a shout out to In-N-Out Burger, who recently put out a statement blasting government vaccine mandates. That part is true and good for them. That action led to this Babylon Bee headline. In-N-Out unveils exciting new menu item, the Let's Go Brandon. I don't know why that one just cracks me up. Way to go, In-N-Out Burger, and let's go, Brandon. All right, friends, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, if you're new to the show or haven't subscribed yet, regardless of platform, just search out my name, hit that subscribe button, make sure notifications are turned on. That way you can follow the show and help us grow. Thank you so much for tuning in. Our next show is going to be Monday evening at the usual time, 6:30 p.m. Central. Until then, I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. All right, friends, thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button above. Once you do, tell your friends, share it, spread the word about the 13-minute news hour so we can keep growing. And for more great content, check out these videos right here, and I'll see you next time.